Welcome. In this edition of Kurukshetra, we will discuss about rural tourism and rural development. Now, government's initiative has been bringing in villages like Pochampalli and Dhorado as one of the successful examples of rural tourism. Now, Dhorado actually got one of the awards from UN for one of the unique rural heritage site that can be seen. So, promoting rural tourism brings in revenue for rural economy, and it brings in exposure to the culture, the arts and crafts, the heritage, and even the agricultural practices. It helps in generate jobs in the rural vicinity. So there have been various developments and projects announced to boost rural tourism across India. So globally, when we talk about the UNWTO, that is the UN World Tourism Organization, it had honored in 2021 Pochampalli in Telangana as the best tourism village. Similarly, in 2023, Dorado in Gujarat was given as the best tourism village award. We have villages like Konoma in Nagaland and Madla in Madhya Pradesh, which have been given similar recognitions in the past. Now, what are the practices that have been adopted? So homestays have been adopted, the rural tourism and bringing in the rural exposures, the exposure to the agriculture, the exposure to the living conditions, the exposure to the shelter conditions have been some of the important factors that have been associated to it. Now for that, community reinforcements have been done, capacity building resource centers have been established, and there have been tourism working groups which have been working under G20 umbrella, which held its meeting at Run of Kutch to promote rural tourism. There have been discussions for grassroots development and bringing in sustainable tourism. So if we talk about the submissions from the various areas, the highest have been witnessed from Andhra Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, then you have Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, and the regions of Rajasthan. There have been strategies which have been focusing on best practices, digital technologies in rural area, cluster tourism in rural areas, marketing support, capacity building, and better governance and institutionalization, which can lead to better management of tourists flowing into the rural areas where more accessibility, their digital presence can bring in tourists from not only India but across the globe. Now, some of the ways in which rural tourism can be fostered across country, some of the good examples we can say are Majuli Islands in Assam. We have Araku Valley in Andhra Pradesh, which is known for coffee cultivation. Also, there is Form of Happiness Ratnagiri in Maharashtra, known for its mangoes, Alfonso, and then the farmhouses being developed. Konyak tea retreat in Mom district in Nagaland is known for the tea production. The privately owned tea estate is there, which has farmhouses which can bring in people. Similarly, Kumarakom in Kerala is known as God's own garden, and here traditional net fishing practices, coconut palm weaving has been some of the important ideas. Ajrakpur in Gujarat is known for Ajrak or the block printing, and this technique has been commonly practiced in the Khatri community in the local area. Chanderi in Madhya Pradesh is known for Chanderi silk. So these are some of the ways in which tourism can be redefined. Even in the northeast areas, we have seen that tourism can be brought through various ways. There are numerous ethnic festivals. For example, the Rongali Bihu in Assam, that is the New Year Bihu festival. Then you have Chaparchur Kut in Mizoram, the Wangla 100 Drums festival, then that's for the Meghalaya, are some of the important festivals. Now, there are areas where these festivals are celebrated. For example, Zero Music Festival in Arunachal Pradesh, Hornbill in Nagaland, Temi Tea Autumn Festival in Sikkim, Rongali, as we already said, the Bihu Festival in Assam, Cherry Blossom in Meghalaya are some of the important festivals, and then Shiru Lily Festival in Manipur. Now, music. For music, Shillong is known as the rock capital of India. We have Bhupendra Hazarika's museum in Guwahati, which is again one of the exemplary way of explaining how music is an essential part of Northeast and the regions of the Northeast, right? Then the taste. So the local cuisines, the local food flavors are typically seen across India, and across India we have seen different type of food that has been witnessed. So again, this is one of the factors that attracts local tourism and brings in local tourism. The pristine beauty, the scenic environment, the untouched environment, we could say, in the rural areas is again responsible for influx of tourism. But definitely we need to have job opportunities being created, the sustainable and responsible tourism being developed. Similarly, there are various amenities that have to be provided, which are in the form of healthcare, internet facilities, affirmatory amenities, which could bring in, which could come in the form of green atmosphere or street lighting, security as another important concern. And then there are to be supportive amenities which have to be brought, which includes connectivity, certain convenience that could be brought into the regions. The next is, again, in the tourism, postal tourism or the postal heritage is one of the important studies that is usually missed. During the 19th and the 20th century, post and telegraph became one of the major means of communication, and the postal department saw a substantial heritage estate, we could say. There were 44 heritage buildings for post offices which were established, and nearly 350 structures before 1939, pre-independence period. And this Department of Post, in collaboration with Intac and CPWD, came in to bring in very important sites for tourism attraction. So in the various areas we have seen, for Gujarat, Maharashtra, West Bengal, there are foreign tourists. Then Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, we have domestic tourisms coming in. Be it the domestic or the foreign tourism, postal foundation system is one of the important systems, because few people have been talking about the black hole tragedy that occurred in 1756, and that is just behind the Kolkata GPO. There have been the guard room of the old Fort William. There is the Bombay Duckfish, which is the name given from the Bombay Dock Mail train, and this transported the fish from Bombay to Kolkata during the colonial times. Dak bungalows were established, and there were numerous such structures. So during 1850, a commission was established to review the postal services, and the Post Office Act 1854 brought in the post office into the Imperial Department of the State Directorate. So Kolkata GPO was designed by Greenville, and that was the person who served as the consulting architect during that time. This construction was carried out by Mackintosh and completed in 1868. The building at the Dalhousie Square in Kolkata is originally known as the Dead Letter Office, and was the India's first and the largest return letter office. Similarly, Delhi GPO was the first GPO or the first post office which was established in Delhi during the East India Company, and this was the largest post office in the regions of Delhi. It had iconic decorative elements of colonial architecture. The New Delhi GPO, or the Gold Dak Khana as it is known as, has been designed by Robert Russell, and this is again one of the very important architectural marvels. Similarly, PMG office in Goa, Panji head post office are some of the structures being designed by Portuguese during that time. Chauda Maidan post office in Shimla was built with an impressive structure. Postal Museum building in Bangalore is well known. Puducherry head post office building is another important building. Similarly, the GPO Lucknow building is one of the important buildings which has even hosted numerous English films and dramas. There have been buildings and elements which have been seen in across nearly 350 buildings, as we discussed. So this way, postal sector also adds to tourism. Now, in the rural areas, another important element that we can see is the fairs and the festivals which are held, and international tourism has rebounded nearly 88% pre-pandemic level after the pandemic. And there are 5 key aspects on which tourism depend. Now these 5 A's are important. These are attractions, accessibility, accommodation, amenities, and activities. Now, if these 5 things are present, that area can flourish as a tourism site. So, Mela, Mahotsav, Utsav are some of the terms which have been associated, and the Utsav portal in 2021 was a digital platform to showcase the events, the festivals, and live darshans across India. Now, the next important is for a fair and festival, what are the things which are significant? There has to be an economic importance. For example, the Ayodhya Deepotsav, which had a Guinness World Book record. Similarly, we had other platforms, for example, the Bali Yatra Festival in Cuttack, the Open Trade Fair in Surajkund, Craft Fair, Pushkar Fair are some of those. Then socio-cultural importance associated to it. For example, harvest festivals, the Rabi and the Kharif harvesting seasons. Then there can be spiritual symbolism associated to it. Then we have MICE, which is the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions, the 4 key marketing segments of tourism. Now, tourism through festival can be promoted through MICE, which is meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions or events. For example, Uttarayan in Gujarat is one such example. Kite Festival, International Kite Festival is hosted here. Then the UNESCO World Heritage Convention site talks about cultural and natural heritage, with nearly 42 World Heritage sites being located in India. The Shera Festival is another important example in Mysore. Then we have Pinjore Heritage Festival. Now this is seen as one of the important aspects of Haryana. Similarly, the regions of the port areas of Kerala are known for their spice festivals. Hornbill Festival, as we already said. Medaram Jatra in Telangana is one of the largest tribal fair in Telangana, which is being hosted. Then there are pathways and connectivities being created in the rural areas, bringing in economic employment and still preserving the local heritage. So art and craft of the local area is again important. So tangible to intangible heritage is important. So some of the items we can see, we can visualize, would fall under the category of tangible. Those we cannot actually visualize. For example, the indigenous local knowledge, the Ayurvedic practices would fall under intangible heritage, but those again are an important aspect. For example, the living traditions Chanderi Trail in Madhya Pradesh is one of the important ways through which we see the Chanderi weaving in the regions of Madhya Pradesh. Similarly, Chau dance in Bengal, Jharkhand, and Odisha talk about the epic tales of Ramayana and Jataka stories. There are various local festivals, camel races in the Pushkar Fair, folk dances at the Desert Festival in Jaisalmer are some of the examples associated to it. Then we have heritage sites being developed. For example, if we talk about the industrial area, in the rural areas in Germany, we talk about coal and mining centers, but those have turned out into cultural attraction. Similarly, Jamshedpur in Jharkhand is a steel center, but it can be developed as a cultural heritage site. Agricultural tourism, for example, lavender fields in Provence in France, vineyards in Napa in California are some examples, and those could be turned in organic farming and local practices in India. Dark sky tourism. Now we have talked about this concept being started in the regions of Ladakh, where we have established a dark sky tourism amongst the natural the national park, and this is again one of the centers where the Kerry International Dark Sky Reserve in Ireland has been seen. Similarly, local communities and their sustainable efforts for cultural preservation, environmental conservation have been important to bring in local tourism. The next important segment of tourism that we would focus is Jammu Kashmir. Now, Jammu and Kashmir has seen an increase in nearly 155% of the tourist arrivals, which has been the highest ever recorded under a global tourism hotspot center, we could say. It is known for its natural beauty, cultural richness, and even its spirituality. G20 summit was hosted to focus on the redesigning or reshaping of the tourism structure in Jammu and Kashmir, preserving the local heritage, preserving the heritage places, and then again the spiritual centers, for example, the Amarnath Yatra, the Hazratbal Shrine, Chahare Sharif, Shankaracharya Temple, Raghunath Temple as some of the examples. Then the cultural preservation in those areas have been important. Along with that, in Jammu and Kashmir, trekking trails have been developed, adventure tourism is being developed, and these also focus on development of the regions. For example, we have the rapids of Lider River and Zanskar River, which have become very very popular for white river rafting. There are practices for adventurer like kayaking and canoeing in the Dal Lake areas, which have become popular among tourists. So those are some of the ways in which we have discussed rural tourism in this section, more specific areas of rural tourism, and this topic is indeed very very important from your art and culture perspective, not only for your prelims but also for your mains. The detailed preparation guidelines for prelims and mains is available in the links below. Thanks for joining in. Have a wonderful day.